Good evening, viewers. Welcome to another edition of Agri Business Now, the program which updates you on all the happenings in the agricultural sector. I am your host, Rhonda Sutherland. On this week's episode, we have a continuation on the Agricultural Produce and Livestock Prevention of Theft Act of 2007. The Ministries of Agriculture and Tourism are linking to sustain the sectors through an agri-tourism policy setting. UNDP, Japan-Caribbean Climate Change Partnership, and the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture, promoting climate-smart agriculture. Additionally, we have the How to Do segment, plus the news and announcements. But before we get into the details, let's take a short break.
Water. It is 75% of the Earth's surface, yet it is scarce in some places. It's 70% of our body's mass, yet many do not drink that 8 glasses per day. The forest plays an important part in the water cycle by protecting our watersheds. Water is life. Protect the forest. Preserve life.
Thank you for staying tuned. If you're just joining us, you're watching Agri Business Now. Legal advisor to the Farmer Support Company Limited, Noel Bruce, has been advising us on the Agricultural Produce and Livestock Prevention of Theft Act of 2007. He's here to explain the power of the authorities to stop and examine.
In this section 8, it is saying that this police officer, whoever it is, needs to have a reasonable cause to suspect. Now, what is this reasonable cause? Now, that means that the officer is able to say why he believes it is necessary to do what he is about to do. Now, this reasonable cause is an objective test. It is not given to the whims and the fancies of the constable or the police officer. Because as we have said in previous programs, in presentation, that this act, the Agricultural Produce and Livestock Prevention of Theft Act, is really one of the mechanism, a means of arresting the problem that we are experiencing of the theft of agricultural produce and livestock. So it is not that a police officer wants to harass or molest honest, law-abiding farmers or citizens, but the act gave him such powers. But the act also curtailed that power, it constrained it in saying that he has to have a reasonable cause. And the reasonable cause is that he believes, based on intel, on information, on intelligence, that this person may be carrying goods that are obtained unlawfully. Now, this power to stop and search, it is given to police officers, and it allows them to prevent crime and gather evidence so that without approaching the court to have a warrant, because if you suspect a particular individual of unlawful act and you have to go to the court to get a warrant to come back before you can search, that may be, by the time you get back, they may have gotten rid of and disposed of what unlawful items that they had in their possession. Now, reasonable cause can never be supported on the basis of personal factors, such as a person's age, their appearance, their religion, etc., or etc. Generalization or stereotyping, for example, you may say a certain kind of person is predisposed to stealing. And because he thinks that that person fits that description, he decides, okay, I am going to search that person. Neither a person's religion can be considered as a reasonable cause for suspicion and should never be considered as a reason to stop or search any individual. Now, a reasonable cause, for example, may arise from a person's behavior, such as a person acting strange on the street at night. Let's say, for example, the officer is in a particular location and he sees an oncoming vehicle, but on seeing the officer, the driver of that vehicle stopped short or probably reversed and turn around, giving the officer the impression that he does not want to approach because the officer probably is in the process of searching or questioning individual who may be transporting agricultural produce also. That to the officer may be a suspicious behavior. And that to him is what? Is reasonable cause to probably pursue that vehicle or stop and search that vehicle. Or for that matter, any individual who for some reason gave the officer reasonable cause due to their suspicious behavior to carry out a search. So, reasonable cause should normally be linked to accurate and current intelligence or information. So it's not that an officer is acting arbitrarily and he sees a farmer or a concerned individual and proceed to search them. So even if there is a power to arrest without a warrant or to stop and search, the officer is guided by this objective test of reasonable cause, and officers on a whole will act accordingly.
The Ministries of Agriculture and Tourism collaborated with the Technical Center for Agricultural and Rural Cooperation, CTA, the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, OECS, the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture, IICA, and other public and private sector organizations to host an agri-tourism policy setting workshop for stakeholders with the aim of promoting linkages between the agri-food sector and the tourism industry to increase sustainable local sourcing of fresh and processed agricultural and fisheries products through an effective agro-tourism policy. Ina Harvey, IICA's agri-tourism specialist, addressed the participants at the workshop.
Over the last 5 years especially, I've been working very closely with a lady called Isolina Boto from the CTA Brussels office to promote agro-tourism for the Caribbean and the Pacific and Africa. And this workshop today is one of the results of what we're doing together. I wish to acknowledge also the support of the European Union, because the projects that you develop here will go into a basket that we've been able to access under what is called 11th EDF intra-ACP envelope. And that basket is valued at 35 million euros for the Caribbean region. So we want to have projects coming out of our deliberations today, 2 to 3 big projects for St. Vincent and the Grenadines that will go into this basket. Under IICA's medium-term plan, our strategies are to increase the contribution of the agri-food sector to economic growth and sustainable development, to contribute to the well-being of all stakeholders, to improve international and regional trade. And these 2 days we'll be looking at trade between the agricultural and tourism sectors, to increase the resilience of stakeholders and the sustainability of our agri-food systems. our technical assistance programs, which would come through our IICA St. Vincent office and from our sub-regional and regional and hemispheric offices, deal with the bioeconomy, area-based development, family farming, international trade, and most importantly, agricultural health, food safety, and food quality. Why agro-tourism? What are the benefits of agro-tourism? Retention of a higher percentage of income by rural people. The World Travel and Tourism Council once did a report saying that agro-tourism represents the most direct form of relieving poverty, especially in rural areas, because when a tourist comes to a rural area, they hand the money to a farmer, to a farm family.
Stay tuned. More of Agribusiness Now in a short while.
What's for dinner?
Fish casserole and vegetables.
Fish again? Why are you cooking fish so often?
Well, Clint, fish is very, very nutritious, you know. Fish is an excellent source of protein. You know what protein is good for?
Yes, it's to help build my body, to help me grow into a big, strong boy.
Exactly. And fish is very good for mommy and daddy too, you know.
And on top of too.
Absolutely. Fish has these things in it, substances called omega-3 fatty acids.
Omega what?
Omega-3 fatty acids. These help people reduce their chances of getting heart disease. And guess what? They are also good for mild high blood pressure and Papa's arthritis.
Wow.
Yeah, fish has lots of vitamins and minerals too. So when we eat fish, Clint, we are doing our bodies a big, big favor. So, Mommy went and got this nice fish cookbook from Fisheries. Look, where we could try new fish dishes. Come. Look, we could try fish burgers, or fish fingers, or even fish pizza.
Fish pizza, yay!
And if you eat it once, you'll go want it twice.
Thanks for staying tuned. The UNDP Japan Caribbean Climate Change Partnership Project and IICA has been promoting climate-smart agriculture in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, geared towards creating more climate-resilient farms. Here's a feature on the project.
The Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture, IICA, in collaboration with the United Nations Development Project, the UNDP, is presently in the process of implementing a pilot project through the Japan Caribbean Climate Change Partnership, the JCCCP. The project is entitled Promoting the Adoption of Climate-Smart Agricultural Practices Among Small-Scale Producers and is funded by the Government of Japan. 5 pilot sites were established as model sites under this project.
IICA has been cooperating with the Ministry of Agriculture over the last years and is a leading agent in the promotion of climate-smart agriculture. They have done several workshops, training activities for climate-smart agriculture. They've also had actually a climate-smart agriculture farming competition in which the JCCCP would have partnered in the awarding of the prize. The Eike Project is working with the rural women, the youths, which is represented by Vincent, and young farmers. It is similar to the component done by the Ministry of Agriculture under the irrigation project, but it is targeting specifically the rural women cooperatives and associations and schools. In these projects, farmers are also provided with water tanks, irrigation lines, inputs, and training. IICA has set up a demonstration plots there specifically targeted at the young children and the preschool teachers. This aspect of the project is being promoted as both backyard farming and to provide also fresh vegetables and fruits to preschools.
IICA Technical Specialist to St. Vincent and the Grenadines Michael Dalton was among a team that recently visited 3 of these farms and gave a synopsis of the project.
We have under that project established 5 pilot sites demonstrating good agricultural practices. Those sites are located at Sans Souci, Calder, Pembroke, Kingston and Rosehall. Those sites are essentially demonstrating 3 types of practices. The first of which are soil management practices, secondly, crop husbandry practices, and finally, practices related to the management of water on the sites.
Charged with the responsibility for installing the drip irrigation system, Aldrich Brown highlights his role in the process and encourages others to take up the challenge to learn and to adopt these techniques.
The system that we are using, as I said, is drip irrigation system. These are serviced from 2 1,000-gallon water tanks, which collect water from roofs. We have crops that are now benefiting from the rainwater harvesting system. Now the farmers, they have to be trained in operating these systems. They have to be trained in carrying out small maintenance, and also we are hoping that farmers in the vicinity can visit these plots to see what they can learn and who all are interested in having these systems, which would be beneficial for them. What we are doing is that we are trying to make water available to the plants during those periods of agriculture drought.
Let's now hear from the beneficiaries of the project.
I am so pleased to get this water harvest system, irrigation system going on my farm so that it can help me, especially when the weather is dry. Because what really happened, the climate change that we are going through is so severe on my farm because my farm is usually dry. Even when it's raining, when the sun come out, it's terrible. So the irrigation system that IICA has helped to implement on my farm is very useful to me. Even the crop that I have planted here, the irrigation system come in very useful because at the time when we was planting, we had a very dry spell. If you look, you will see how the plants them looking beautiful. Thanks again to the water harvest. And I encouraging all the women, if they could set up, come and see the project and set up. Not even the women, the youths, and even homes, backyard gardeners, to come and see the project, the model of it, and take a step and enjoy the farming.
This project was brought to me by the extension officer for this area, Sophie, with the help of Dalton, the organization IICA. For me, farming is the way of life. It's the best thing I ever do. I love my work and I love everything about it. The system has helped me thus far because during the drought, it will help me to water my plants. I have to get up and think. It's just by turning a tap, and give thanks to Mr. Brown for the setting up. And I hope to do much better, extend this project a farther way along. And give thanks to IICA.
Well, I'm happy to be a recipient of the Japanese climate change project, of which there are several pilot projects, and I am one of the recipients. As a farmer, over the past years, during the dry spell, you are unable to do your farming as before. But being a recipient of this project, I believe that it would increase my capacity as a farmer to plant more vegetables.
All of this started a little over 2 years ago, when Vincent found it necessary to involve its children, its students, its staff, to have a relationship with the garden, to see how things grow, and particularly with a young child, to show them the importance of Mother Earth and what the earth can produce. And the other thing had to do with our students in training. As you know, we train preschool teachers all over the island. So we wanted to share this kind of information with them because they have in their own preschools. We show them this way as to how you can plant your own vegetables and things like that to supplement your meals. So we planted our garden to Taiwan John too. Those beds you see there, with the blocks, introduce using of the tires, etc. Because we have a small space. We focus on short crops like the lettuce, the chive, what you see here, the pak choy and so forth. The IICA now, Mr. Dalton, approached Mr. Dalton in terms of helping us to upgrade the garden. So they assisted us in terms of those 2 tanks with all the drip lines, and so he also gave us a lot of herbs, as you see there, and seedlings and so forth. And they monitor through the Eike Project. They come regularly and they monitor what we are doing.
I'm the president of Women in Agriculture for Rural Development, and I'm affiliated with IICA, CADI, and all those farming organizations. I knew Mr. Harper, his activities and so forth. And ups come this opportunity with the JCCCP project in terms of water harvesting. And I was nominated as one of the persons to host a pilot project on this farm. And I was so fortunate enough to get these 2 1,000-gallon tanks, which enhance my farming. Because years gone by, you depend on rain. And you have to be toting water to wet plants, and more you wet the plants them still not satisfied. So I was so glad when this thing happened. In the first instance, I was given some tomato seedlings. Heat Master, it was the variety, and I got some cabbage. And I worked hard and serious on my tomatoes, and not without challenges. There were a few challenges, and I learned a lot by having this project. Learned about viruses, about fungus, and generally it was good. It was strenuous at times before we have this water harvesting. You have to be toting water from the river. Fortunately, I have a truck, so I bring my water, and all nights we wet in tomatoes. And I know the second crop that I'm going to put in will be much easier because I have water on this spot. So I give God thanks, and I thank IICA. I thank the JCCCP project, UNDP, all who involved, that they had afforded us this opportunity to farm a little easier, less stress.
Welcome back. You're watching Agri Business Now, and we are into the How to Do segment, where you will see how to smoke filet robin.
The use of smoke to extend the storage life of fish is an age-old practice. Present in smoke vapors are certain chemicals that have bactericidal and antioxidant properties, which give it a preservative effect, along with chemicals which promote the development of flavor and color. Additionally, during the smoking process, the heat from the burning wood serves to remove moisture, which provides a measure of drying. Depending on the intensity of the heat, the flesh may also be partially cooked. Hot smoked robin fillets. Preparation of brine. You will need 5 liters of water, 300 grams brown sugar, and 2.5 pounds salt. Mix the salt and sugar in a tub containing the water. Stir until the salt and sugar are completely dissolved. The method: wash, dry, and fillet the fish. Prepare brine by using cool water, the temperature of which must be reduced to 16 degrees Celsius. Place fillet in brine for approximately 10 to 15 minutes, stirring occasionally. Remove fillet from brine, rinse and allow to dry. Place in smoker in hanging position or lying flat on the mesh. Smoke using a smoldering fire for 3/4 of the smoking period, usually 1 hour, until color development is definite. Then increase heat to cook and dry the fillet. Remove fillet from smoker, cool and package. The smoked fillet can then be prepared in a variety of ways, such as steaming, shredded in salads or sandwiches, or in a sauce as for fresh fish.
Here are the news and announcements. The Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry, Fisheries, Rural Transformation, Industry and Labour has opened a call for public-private partnership enterprise development in the following areas. 1. Establishment and management of 5 feedlots for cattle, pigs and small ruminants. 2. Establishment and management of a modern abattoir. 3. Establishment and management of 4 up to 100,000 mini or fully automated poultry production facilities. And 4. Establishment and management of a dairy production facility with the capacity for manufacturing cheese and other value-added dairy products. Interested applicants wishing to submit their proposal should do so no later than 30th April 2019. Addressed to Mr. Raymond Ryan, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry, Fisheries, Rural Transformation, Industry and Labour, Richmond Hill, Kingstown, St. Vincent. Email office.agriculture@mail.gov.vc. Well, viewers, here's where we come to the end of another Agri Business Now program. I do hope you enjoyed the package. For more information, please feel free to contact us at the Communications Unit in the Ministry of Agriculture at telephone number 45-611-11, extension 312 or 472. Or you can email us at citumaf2@hotmail.com. Remember, you can view more of Agri Business Now programs on our YouTube channel, Agri Business Now St. Vincent, or like our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/agribusinessnow to get more updates. Until next time, I'm Rhonda Sutherland. Thanks for viewing. Have a wonderful night.